What's going on, friends? It's Colin, and I'm just out for a little Sunday ride. And my kids have gone glamping with my mother and my aunt and uncle, which means that they're camping, but they're in like a fifth wheel trailer sort of thing with like a bathroom and all the amenities. And just out for a ride here along Grand Lake. And I tried to do a couple of moto vlogs throughout this area or throughout this route earlier this year, but in one case the audio quality wasn't up to par, and in the other case just what I was talking about sucked, so I didn't wind up posting it. Anyway, I think we'll go for a rip here, and we're in Princess Park. So over here to my right is Grand Lake, over here to my left is it's called the Keyhole, and this is kind of cottage territory. We're gonna ride through, probably turn around, ride back through, and then yeah, I'm going to ride home along the St. John River. On the way back, I will cut off the moto vlog and pick it back up later, because I just rode here. I'm going to get the bike going and talk. Sometimes when I give it a sharp twist of throttle, it just goes psst, like real sharp. Anyway, yeah, so one time I tried to do it, had bad audio. Another time I tried to motovlog through here. What I was talking about sucked. What I was saying is that on the way here, I had to ride through some fresh chip seal. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But this is the part of Grand Lake that was absolutely devastated by flooding earlier this year in the spring. And I see that they've done a fair bit of cleanup work, although there are still some summer homes here that are displaced, that are kind of knocked over. At least there were about a month ago. So we'll see what kind of progress they've made. It's a real nice spot, though. And that's this is the largest freshwater lake in the province of New Brunswick, I do believe. I don't have Wikipedia open right now to fact check myself, but I do believe that's the case. And we have, this is Grand Lake West, and there's another Grand Lake East, which is on the Maine New Brunswick border. For those of you that are somewhat familiar, I am riding along Grand Lake West, and I'm about half an hour from my house. Excuse me. Anyway, I'll probably piss the people off that are just out here trying to chill. Me ride by on a Harley twice, but it's scenic. There's a house that's upended. There was another one here. One of the cottages actually floated like 12 kilometers away across to the other side of the lake in its entirety and washed up on somebody's beach over there. So it was a crazy flood we had this year. And I think I've probably mentioned it before, but this is one of my favorite places to go riding. So, you know, I've talked about balance in life, and because I'm so busy with music and work, and my wife's busy and all that, this weekend's been really great. My kids are having an awesome time. They're glamping along the Gaspereau River, so they'll be doing some fishing. We sent their helmets with them. My uncle will take them out four-wheeling. This has become a tradition. It's like the second or third year in a row that they've done this, and it gives my wife and I time to spend time together, reset, but also do our own thing a little bit. We hung out Friday night, Saturday night, went to movie night with friends, where they have an ongoing standing tradition every Saturday night where they get together and watch a couple of shitty movies. And these are movies that are like so bad that they're good, and that's part of the fun. Anyway, I wind up going about once a year, because when my wife goes, usually I'm either gigging or babysitting. Sorry. I'm looking after my children. I'm parenting. That's not babysitting. What I meant to say was that I'm either home with the kids or we get a babysitter if I have to gig and she is going to make it to movie night. I never refer to looking after my own kids as babysitting. That's ridiculous. But I had the two thoughts sort of mixed up in my head, and that's how it came out. I am oh so sorry. So for those of you that virtually had your hand raised and wanted to backhand me when I said that, I feel you. Anyway, when I come back through this fresh coat of chip seal, it was absolutely necessary. The road surface was in pretty bad shape, but it's fresh. So it is basically tar and gravel, and they've taken probably a steamroller over it once, and then you just kind of wait until the cars bang the gravel down into the tar and it becomes a more stable road surface. But right now there's a shitload of loose rocks and gravel. You got to go real slow, take your time, and a vehicle coming in the other direction, he was moving. I wish I had been rolling audio and video for that, but I wasn't. And I think my exact commentary was, Jesus Christ, dude, as he rolled by, and then there was a delayed reaction, and then a massive piece of gravel hit my visor, hit my face shield. I was like, holy fuck. Had I not had a full face helmet on, and had I, been running with no windshield, it would have, where it dinged my face shield, it would have hit me right between the eyes. And I don't want to think about how that would have worked out for me. I don't think it would have been good. If it's enough to cut the face shield, then it would have been enough to draw blood. That's for goddamn sure. Not really his fault. He was going a little bit too quick, but what are you going to do about loose gravel? So I think on the way back, I will ride in the right-hand tire track and just take my time. Gravel on a bike sucks. It's like ice and snow in a car. It's just unpredictable. You don't know what kind of traction you have, so I'm just going to take it easy, and if anyone is stuck behind me, I'll let them pass. Anyway, another little beach area, some more cottages. It'd be nice to have a spot like this, but if you're going to have a property like this, you kind of have to be committed to just coming and chilling at the lake. And it's not something that we're really into. My kids love swimming and whatnot, but I know my wife and I, we both go stir crazy if we sit still for too long. We were hanging out at the house this morning, just what do we do? There's no kids, and we're sitting here doing nothing. So we can do that, if we go away on a vacation or something, we can do nothing for a couple of days, and then we start to go crazy. If we're at home and we're doing nothing, a few hours is all we need to kind of reset, and we're like, all right, we got to get out and get doing something. Anyway, that's kind of the end of Cottage Land, so I'm just going to find a place to turn around and head back through, and I'll catch up with you guys on the flip side. I've said nothing of substance yet. Oh, yeah, I like riding through here. These trees are cool. Be a great place to have a year-round home, but there is absolutely fuck all around here other than the lake and cottages and whatnot. Alright, so this driveway is gonna... I should have used the paved one. I'm an idiot. Oh well, this'll do. And back we go. Yeah, this little bit's called Cipher Cove. They have the evergreens that are just dead straight, and they're trimmed up. It looks cool. They have these nice lanes going down into the properties that overlook the water. So it's a sweet spot. So I'll probably go home and film a music video. My wife went to chill by a pool and swim with friends this afternoon. And then we're going to get back to watching a Netflix series that we are watching together this evening, which is called The Sinner, I think. Jessica Biel's in it. It's interesting. We started it the other night, kind of got hooked on it, and we have a weekend to get through it, or get through the lion's share of it, and then once things get back into the full swing of life next week, the kids will be back in school, music lessons start, sports start. So yeah, this is like the last weekend of summer vacation, and it's cooled off. The heat wave that we had, it still, you know, kind of pokes its way up around 30 degrees sometimes, but it's not nearly what it was. It doesn't sustain that overnight, so you can open the windows at night and cool off. This is one of my favorite times of year, this and into the fall. Yeah, back to what I was saying. I'm going to go home and probably do a music video, cover tune. I'm not sure which one yet. I've been playing around a lot in open tuning. I won't go into that detail. I'll talk about it on that video. But I'm loving it, getting more comfortable with it. And at some point real soon, I'm going to work it into my live shows, which means taking 2 guitars with me, which isn't ideal, but I usually throw a second guitar in the back of the vehicle just to have a backup in case something bad happens. You know, if I break a string or whatever, you take a quick break and restring. But for some reason, like a pickup isn't working, or, you know, God forbid you drop the thing and fucking break it, then I have a second guitar on hand. I'll have to be more strategic with which backup guitar I take. And the movies that we saw last night they were absolutely shitty, in a good way. We saw one, and by the way, it's usually shitty shark movies, or at least that's how it started. And now there are shitty movies played of various different genres. But last night there were actually 2 shark movies, and one was called Nightmare Shark. It was awful. And then the other one was the last Sharknado movie, subtitled It's About Time. And it was fucking brutal, but so brutal that it was enjoyable. I would say that their special effects budget was roughly on par with mine for this video, which is nil. Anyway, it was something else. So if you're in the mood for some mindless fun, as long as a shitty movie is fun to you, then yeah, check it out. Or don't. Really, it's not going to enrich your life one way or the other, so... we're moving slow. Anyway, growing up as a kid, we used to camp almost every summer at a campground called Lakeside, which is, at least at the time, it was a provincial park. I'm not sure if it's been privatized since. We would go tenting there for a week or so every year, and you know, that's back when I I think the last time I remember going, I was maybe 15 or 16, but we did that a lot when I was a fair bit younger. Probably even from single digits to early teens and that kind of thing. So I've spent a fair bit of time on this lake, just on the other side of it, which is about 12, 15 kilometers away from where I'm at right now. I don't know if you would call that a fun fact, but it is a fact. I'm gonna pop the visor here. This is toasty. Okay, your brakes are on, no signal. What are you doing? Oh, never mind. You're right, I'm wrong. Hopefully they don't get all this cleaned up this summer and then we have another rough winter and more flooding, which is entirely within the realm of possibility. So basically what happened was we didn't have the type of like single day massive snowfalls like we did back in 2017 when we had a blizzard dump like 80 centimeters in a day and whatnot. But the snow stuck around. We didn't have any melts throughout the winter, and then when the spring hit, it jumped up to like 29 degrees or something. It went from below freezing to damn near summer temperatures all within a week. So we had a flash melt and major flooding. The underlying fear is that as the climate changes and the current climate change cycle we're in progresses, if you will, that this type of flooding event is going to become more and more common, which isn't good news for this area out along the St. John River. You know, Fredericton itself sits right on the river, so it has an impact on the downtown when it floods big time. Anyway, we kind of head inland a little bit from the lake, and this is where I have to sort out going through the brand new chip seal. So I'll show you a bit of that, but I will be intently focused on what I'm doing until I get through it, and then we head down toward the St. John River. Alright, here we go. 5.6 kilometers of shit. Don't fucking pull out in front of me. Sit back. Things like done up like a cop car, but that gentleman is no cop. Alright. Here we go with this fucking treachery. So yeah, as you can see, this has a profound effect. Yeah, buddy behind me pulled over, and I'm gonna pull over and let this fucking car go by me too. The other bike, he might have done the smart thing and stopped. I was just going to go for a few, you know, maybe a couple hundred meters and see how it was, and was able to get through okay, so I'm carrying on. But if you don't know what's ahead of you, 5.6 kilometers of this bullshit could be a little bit overwhelming. These guys are all going at a reasonable speed. Yeah, but as I said, like, this road surface badly needed the resurfacing, so as much as it cramps my style for today's ride, it was much needed, so it'll all be good in the end. I won't come this way for, you know, a few weeks, maybe later in September, once a lot of this gravel's off the road and cars have time to wear this in. Oh, Jesus. All right. This isn't good. Once we get around this corner, buddy, I'm going to let you go by me. Oh, fuck. This is terrible on this side. Okay. Do-do. Yeah, it's worse coming in this direction. I don't know if you would have seen him in my rear view mirror in the GoPro, but buddy on the bike that turned around didn't continue. He did the right thing. But I got myself into this mess, so now I got to get myself out of it. I'm doing about 20 miles an hour. Yeehaw. And we're through it. Anyway, I got some cross-country bullshit riding to do to get to the next point of interest, so I'll shut up and I'll catch up with you in a little bit. Alright, now we're coming into Lakeville Corner. We're going to head over through, you know, a very brief period of twisty roads and back down to the St. John River. So not sure if you've noticed or how many there have been in my riding in the video footage, but there's a ton of election signs, campaign signs up around here. We do have a provincial election coming up later this month. I won't talk about politics too much because I don't really align with any particular party. Fun fact, I took like this survey quiz thing through the CBC as to where I stood on the issues, and the output of that was supposed to, you know, tell me which party do you align with the most. And I aligned with all the parties almost exactly the same, which was like 51%. And basically that means that I think they all have some workable ideas. And they all have parts of their platform that I think are absolute nonsense. So there's 5 parties here running in the election. We have the current government, the Liberal government, and, you know, don't be fooled by my use of the terms liberal and conservative. You know, the Liberals and the Conservatives here are both fairly centrist when it comes to social policy. Really, it more boils down to whether or not they're fiscally fiscally conservative or liberal. The current Liberal government does like to spend. And we usually vote them in for a few years, and then they overspend, and then we put the Conservatives in for a few years, and then they underspend, which eventually pisses people off because you're not spending enough money. And then we vote the Liberals back in, and the cycle continues. The mouthful of wet mouthwash just swishes from one cheek to the other. The other parties are the People's Alliance Party, the NDP, which is the New Democratic Party, and the Green Party. And I have no idea who I'm going to vote for. The NDP, the Greens, and the People's Alliance, the way they're polling, like, they're not going to win the election.
They might win a couple of seats here and there, but as is always the case, it's down to the Conservatives and the Liberals. I think the Liberal guy's a puppet. Don't really know the Conservative guy. He seems to be a sharp enough dude, but anyway. It's like the same core group of people, or a lot of the same people that have been sitting in the legislature for years and years, so very little changes. I think most of it's primarily bullshit. And the fact that we are a province of like 750,000 people, which is not a lot of people. We have this provincial government, and then we have a whole shitload of municipal governments, all under the umbrella of the federal government. That's a lot of fucking governance for a small province. Yes, I lean more fiscally conservative because we only have 750,000 people, and it's not like we're a rich province, so we don't have a shitload of money. So when the government spends money on stupid shit, it makes me mad. And our current government, I kind of want them to go away, but it's not based on the social policy per se. It's all just spending. And on a number of occasions, you know, they've made these policy decisions that they were going to implement, and obviously didn't think it through because it pissed the public off enough that they flip-flopped and retracted or changed or whatever. Which, you know, you could argue means that we're listening to the public. But what I think it really means is that they're fucking arrogant and they didn't think things through. They did stuff, it pissed people off, and then they were just trying to save face. So as you can tell, I don't have a whole lot of faith in the government one way or the other. I think we should reduce the number of representatives big time and actually pay them a bunch more money so that we might attract the brightest and best. I don't know what the base salary is here for someone in the government, a member of the legislature, but it's not very high. It wouldn't be difficult to make a whole lot more money than that in the private sector. So as a result, you know, we wind up with cabinet ministers running portfolios that don't have any relevant experience whatsoever. Politics. Anyway, I'll stop ranting about that. I only got fired up about it because one of the parties put their election sign so close to the end of our road that you couldn't see a damn thing that was coming. And where you pull out from my neighborhood onto the main road, the speed limit's 90 kilometers an hour, which is like 55, 56 miles an hour. So it's a little quick for you not to be able to see anything. And then I got pissed off about the election and the campaigns and all this. So yeah, that led me to talk about it a little bit. Sorry. But I will vote. I'll figure out I'll vote for someone. Figure out who the shit disturber party is and maybe vote for them. I don't think anything has changed, and it's just shifted back and forth between those two main parties, which is the case in a lot of places. I mean, I definitely know it's the case in the United States. There are independents, and then you have the Republicans and the Democrats. Well, with the progressive conservatives and the liberals here in the province, it might as well be the same thing, except they're closer to each other on social policy than would be the case in the US. And really it comes down to their proclivities for spending money. Anyway, I'm back along the river. There's no need to get worked up about politics. It's been a nice ride, guys. For those of you watching, hope you enjoyed the scenery. For those of you listening, you didn't make it this far, let's be honest. But I just like getting out for a chat. I'm gonna go home, record some music. This video might go up on Monday, might go up on Wednesday. All depends on how I make out back at home. I'm gonna keep rolling in case anything interesting happens. because I'm not going to pull over yet to stop my recorder. But unless something really interesting happens between here and home, which I hope it doesn't, that is it for me, friends. Cheers. We will be talking soon. Oh, I almost lost it doing the wave.